The first time I noticed it, I couldn't believe my eyes. My hands were trembling around the rim of my glass, condensation slicking my palms, and my heart was hammering like a drum in a parade. There she was, my wife, my Sarah, laughing in a way I didn't recognize, sliding her hand up the arm of a man I didn't know. I had promised myself I wouldn't come here tonight. The club wasn't my scene. Too loud, too crowded, too full of people whose lives I didn't care about. But she had begged. Just one night. Let's go, just for fun. I had said yes, thinking it would be a harmless escape from the quiet monotony of our routine. But now, watching her, I realized I had walked straight into a nightmare. It started with the way she leaned in close, her perfume enveloping him before she even touched him. That subtle, intimate gesture that felt foreign and wrong. I froze, unsure if I wanted to move closer or run away. My mind was a storm. Is this real? Am I seeing things? I should have called her out immediately. I should have confronted her. But instead, I stayed hidden in the shadow of the DJ booth, the bass vibrating through my chest, watching her cross lines I thought we had agreed were sacred. Every laugh, every touch, every fleeting brush of fingers was a knife twisting deeper into a part of me I didn't know existed, the part that had believed in us without reservation. I thought back to our life together. The small apartment we painted together. The arguments about whose turn it was to do the dishes. The nights we stayed up talking about nothing at all. Was that all a lie? Had she been pretending this entire time? She caught sight of me from across the crowd. For a split second, her eyes met mine. And in that moment, the warm familiarity I once saw in them was gone, replaced with something I couldn't name. Panic. Excitement. Guilt. I couldn't tell. Instead of apologizing or coming back, she smiled. A smile that was meant for him, not me. And then she laughed, loud, carefree, untethered, and my stomach dropped. I could feel the heat rising in my face, a mixture of anger, hurt, and disbelief. I left my drink untouched and pushed through the throng of dancers and late-night revelers. Every step felt heavy, every movement mechanical, like I was watching someone else go through the motions. I reached the bar, ordered a whiskey neat, and tried to focus. But the image of her crossed arms around that man, her lips curved in delight, wouldn't leave my mind. I could hear snippets of their conversation, the way his hand lingered just a moment too long, the jokes that sounded too familiar, the whispered words I couldn't catch but didn't need to. My vision blurred with tears I didn't want to shed. And then finally I saw it, her lips brushing his. Not a kiss in passing. Not an accidental touch. A kiss that meant something, something I hadn't meant. The betrayal was complete, undeniable. I didn't scream. I didn't storm over immediately. Instead, I turned and walked toward the exit, the music pounding in my ears, the club lights flashing like strobe-lit accusations. Outside, the cold night air hit me like a wave. I stumbled to the curb, gasping, trying to breathe through the shock. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was her. "Where are you? I thought you were having fun." I stared at the screen, my hand shaking. I typed a reply I couldn't send. I wanted to tell her I saw everything. I wanted to yell. I wanted to beg. But the words felt meaningless, hollow. I couldn't even begin to articulate the storm inside me. Hours later, I drove home in silence, the city lights blurring past like streaks of neon regret. I knew a confrontation was inevitable, but I didn't know how to face her, how to look into her eyes and see the woman I loved intertwined with someone else. When I walked through the door, she was sitting on the couch, pretending to scroll through her phone. "Hey," she said, smiling softly. That smile. How could it feel so familiar and yet so alien at the same time? I didn't answer. I didn't know if I could. "Are you upset?" she asked, finally noticing the storm etched into my face. "Did I?" "You know what you did," I interrupted, my voice low, dangerous. Don't try to lie to me. I saw everything tonight. Every laugh, every touch, every kiss." Her eyes widened, but not with guilt. Not with shame. Something colder flickered there. Defensiveness, maybe even anger. "You're overreacting. It's nothing, just flirting. It doesn't mean anything." I laughed, bitter and hollow. Flirting. You call brushing your lips against someone else flirting? You call holding hands and laughing like that innocent? Sarah, I trusted you. I trusted us. She looked away, her jaw tight. I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of it. You've been distant lately. Maybe I was just seeking attention. Seeking attention. The words cut like glass. I had been present, loving, attentive, or at least I thought I had. And still it wasn't enough. Still she had crossed the line, and now there was no turning back. I felt something inside me crack, a line I had never thought I would cross. Anger surged, but it was tinged with sadness so profound it made my chest ache. Do you understand what this does to me? What it does to us? To everything we built? I don't know, she whispered, finally looking at me. Her eyes were wet, but not with the remorse I hoped for. Maybe with fear. Maybe with frustration. Maybe with something I didn't want to name. I stepped back, feeling the weight of the betrayal pressing down on me. I need space, I said, voice trembling. I need to think. I can't just pretend this didn't happen. She nodded silently, the apartment suddenly feeling too small, too suffocating. I packed a bag. Clothes, my essentials, memories of a life I didn't know if I still shared with her. Her father, always the protective type, drove me to a friend's apartment for the night. He didn't say much, just handed me the keys and gave me a look that said he understood, without needing words. The next few days were a haze of sleepless nights and restless wandering through empty streets. I replayed that moment over and over. The club lights, her smile, his hand on hers. I questioned everything, every decision, every memory. Had I missed signs? Had I been blind, naive, or just too trusting? Then came the confrontation at the dining room table, where we finally faced the inevitable. I can't do this, I said, my voice firm now, steady despite the tremor beneath it. I can't be with someone who betrays me and then pretends it doesn't matter. She looked down at her hands, silence stretching between us like a chasm. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. I know, I interrupted. I don't think it's just about meaning to or not. It's about choice. And you chose him, Sarah. That choice speaks louder than any apology. We didn't argue, didn't fight. There was no dramatic yelling, no last-ditch pleas. Just the quiet devastation of realization, of love eroded by betrayal. The papers for separation were signed quietly, the finality of it settling over us like dust. 9 months later, I ran into her at a local coffee shop. She looked different. Softer, maybe remorseful. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment, I felt a flicker of the old warmth. She said nothing, just offered a tentative smile. I smiled back, but it was distant, protective. My heart ached, but I had healed enough to recognize that some lines, once crossed, can never be uncrossed. Some trust, once broken, can never be fully mended. As I walked away, I realized something important. I had survived the storm. I had felt the pain, the heartbreak, the betrayal, and I had moved forward. The love I had for her had changed, transformed into something quieter, wiser. Not hatred, not obsession, just understanding. Understanding that some people are not meant to stay, and some lessons, however painful, must be learned. And in that, I found a strange, fragile peace.